monitoring, debugging, and diagnostics. Majorly features which developers will be interested in. So Visual Studio and Azure platform collectively provides a rich set of services and tools that you can use to monitor and troubleshoot your application. See, many times what happens is the application is working fine locally, and on deployment you start getting problem. And there are certain settings which can probably run only in the deployment, the production, they cannot run in your local environment. So now you want to debug those kind of things here. So obviously you have to run the application in live and then do the debugging of your application. And this is pretty much supported. Like remote debugging, if a .NET developer already knows, the same thing is applied here also. Visual Studio is a powerful editor for doing the remote debugging of your app services web app. You can monitor your application as in real time. Basically means what? You can generate certain output through certain debug outputs through debug.trace, debug.write, trace.write, and those statements you can see in Studio as the page is executing in real time. You have the platform alert you if the performance degrades. Alerting feature is there. Or of course your application becomes unavailable. If you need to debug your app live or do any kind of postmortem to your web application, with the data analysis you get the root cause. Basically there are debugging features which can make things faster for you to find out what is the problem. They generate for us a lot of diagnostic report, and that diagnostic report we can read to figure out where exactly is the problem that we can achieve. So it enables you to debug your web application interactively while it is running in Azure. What you have to do for this? Go to app settings, and here you have to enable debugging. You have to switch on remote debugging, and you have to choose your version of Studio. Mine is 2017. Save this. Ensure that you are publishing your application. I'm doing a production slot publish. Not necessary, but it is recommended that at the time of debugging you publish a debug configuration build, though it is not necessary. The site is published. Now I want to connect to this my source code. Let us get the output first. Right now we are doing this for production slot, but same thing you can do it for the staging slot also. So now what I do is go to Server Explorer. Ensure that you are connected to your subscription. Here you have to choose demo RG. That's the app. And just right click here and say attach debugger. This is going to take a while based on your machine configuration, based on your network traffic and all that stuff. But once it is done, we'll have to wait for it to finish. So I've attached my code, and here we can now go to the code and put a breakpoint. Maybe let's say here. Oh, issue is okay. It's not supporting debug configuration build. Sorry, release configuration build. Continue debugging. It's not allowing breakpoint. what shall I do? Let's stop and change to release configuration, debug configuration. You can stop debugging. At the time of publish, here we should change. This is release. Go to configure and you can change to debug configuration here. Click on save. So now when I publish, it is going to publish the debug configuration. In debug configuration, we will be able to use the breakpoint. Right now, I'm not able to use the breakpoint. So now let's go here and it will break here automatically. When the page is getting loaded, that breakpoint is going to be hit. No. It's breakpoint. Oh, I forgot to attach. We should again attach it to the debugger. Just publishing is not sufficient. It needs really lot of memory on your machine. On your local machine, you should have decent amount of memory. Like mine is a 32 gigs RAM machine. So that's why the demo is happening. Otherwise, if I take a smaller configuration machine, the demo doesn't even happen. It doesn't even come to this particular stage. I just want to show you that this breakpoint is being hit and that's it. And here it goes. And obviously, once the breakpoint is hit, the way you debug your normal application, you can just continue. So it is so pretty well integrated. And what is your effort? One, you enable debugging in portal. Once you enable debugging in portal, specify the version also. Just ensure that if you want to use breakpoint, you go for release debug configuration build. For that, you have to go to publish. In publish, change the configuration from release to debug, republish it, and after you republish, come to Server Explorer, expand your project, right click and attach debugger. That's it. These are the only things you have to do. Now, coming to diagnostics, that was debugging feature. What I showed you was debugging feature. Now coming to diagnostic, we have got two types of diagnostic logs generated. One we call it as application diagnostic logs and the other is called as site diagnostic log. Application diagnostic logs are generated by you writing code like this. This kind of code, debug.write, trace.write. This kind of code is going to generate application diagnostic log. Log files will be created. I'll show you that log files are there. These are in system.diagnostic namespace. And now, once I publish this, let's do that. I can run the application, and when I run the application, the log files which are created are in this particular folder. But for this, you have to enable the logging. Right now, logging is not enabled because logging, when enabled, takes time and that can degrade performance. So maybe only on need basis you are going to enable logging. So for this, you have to go to diagnostic logs. In the application settings, diagnostic logs, and here you have to write code for enabling it. So right now application log is automatically enabled in the file system. And you can also specify the level. The level can be error, warning, information, verbose. Now what is this level? See, we may not want to get all the information always. So when it is level error, it's the basic information what we are interested in. When the level is warning, all those messages which are categorized under error and warning will get logged. Whereas when the error is information, all those messages which are categorized as error, warning, information will be logged, and verbose is everything will be logged. So I'll keep it as warning here, and what I'll show you is when I save this, in my code I have used error, warning, information. This output will not be captured because we have kept the level as warning. Only these two messages will be captured. Something is definitely wrong, something could be wrong. For demo purpose I am writing all at one place, but generally these messages are all scattered in our application at different parts. In different parts of the application we write this. Debug.write is always going to write. Always this message will be written. So we'll see actually all the messages except this one, the information category. So yeah, we have already published, I believe. I'm not sure, so republishing it. Close all this. Just refresh it. Where are these log files created? All these log files, as I told you, will be there in home log files application. And how to view them? You can connect using FTP and view them, or as I showed you earlier, you can always go to app service editor and here oh, it's not going beyond. We want to go up. So go to studio. In studio you'll find log files. These are the log files which are created. And you see we have got error, warning, and we have information earlier. This is old information, but in new cases we don't have error, sorry, we don't have information, we have only error and warning. As per my knowledge, this also should be generated as output, specifically because we have published a debug configuration build. This line will not be producing output if it is release configuration build, but because we have published debug, this should have come as output here, but somehow I am not getting that. Let's see this file. No. Sorry, it's not generating. Not sure, something wrong here. Or we have to go to web.config, and here we will have to enable let's see if When we publish this, it's going to generate the output. If you do not write that web.config, this particular setting, oh, it's already there. It's already there. Rather, it should not be there now. So this was already there. So this is also fine. And I am publishing debug configuration build. This is also fine. So it should have generated output from this line also, but it is still not generating. Not sure what is going wrong. I'm not able to comprehend the reason about it. So let me leave this here. Then, like this, we have got web server logging, which is actually website logging, detailed error message logging, and failed request logging also. Web server logging are all HTTP logs, your IaaS logs. Web server is running on some IaaS, right? Those logs are web server logging. Data in this log contains fields defined in W3C extended log file format. Like client IP address will be there, cookies which were sent will be there. So these kind of information. Detailed error message. In case there is any kind of error message, one HTML file will be generated, and that HTML file we can view here. For example, now I try to request for something which is not there, and it's going to generate 404 error, and this is going to get logged. But of course, that will happen only again if I go to diagnostic logs and enable those also. This is application log. Right now, only in file system. If you want it to go into storage container, you can do that. You have to refer the storage container. When it is storage container, you have to also mention what is the retention period, because the log will keep accumulating. And as the data is getting increased, you are going to be charged when it is in storage account. So you may probably want to keep log of last 10 days or maybe 50 days. It's your choice. That is application logging in blob, which is storage account. You can do a web server logging. You might enable web server logging in file. 35 MB of log will be created and so much retention period. Let's say 7 days. Detailed error message logging. Failed request tracing. XML files will be generated. So I enable all of them now. And to download these log files, this is the FTP. These are the FTP credentials you can make use of. And how do we set these credentials? I told you, if you remember, you should go to deployment options, or maybe deployment center. Here you have got FTP. Click on it, go to dashboard, and here you can give the username and password. User credentials. This is my user. Password I can provide here. So these credentials can be used for logging. So I again go back to deployment credentials, diagnostic logs. Just show you that all these are enabled. We have already saved it. Just visit the site, browse certain pages, pages which are there, pages which are not there. This internal server error is coming because the wrong web.config file got uploaded, which has multiple entries of config compilation. So to get rid of it, I'll have to republish it. If the web.config has error, it will not give you the output. But that also will get logged. 404 is getting logged. And you can go to Server Explorer. So just expanded these files, but that is also not showing me the content of the root. It's only showing from www root. You want to actually go to its parent directory. There is one more option actually. In portal, you have got command console. Go to console, and here also you can see. Right now I am in d:/home site www root. cd dot cd log files, and all these folders are created. Detailed errors. If you go to detailed errors, you will find HTML files. You can download these HTML files and read them for exactly whatever is the problem. So every time a problem comes, test.html not there, that will get logged. Publishing is not completed yet. Publishing failed in studio. Republish. We know it's not there. And now I go here, the console. We should get the third file. See, 4 files, 5 files. So every time an error comes, you can actually download this file and read complete file in a proper HTML format. It will be available. For that I need to connect using FTP. I'm leaving that for you people. So this is how different types of logs are available. Then there is something called as log streaming. Now in log streaming, what you can do is go to the site and right click here and view streaming logs in studio. Pin this window, view streaming logs, and now refresh the page. Whatever output we have generated using trace.write, those will start coming over here as the page executes. That means live streaming we are able to get. Page is executing on server and the trace output will get streamed to my local machine. See there? Error warning. As I am refreshing here, those are coming there. So live streaming is happening over here. And when you know what exactly is the error because of the live streaming, you can always stop it. Stop monitoring real-time Azure logs. It disconnects. And it's not good to remain connected because performance loss will be there. So this is also one beautiful feature which can be useful. Streaming logs. And portal also, same log stream is there in portal also. In case you are not a developer and if you want to stream the output, log stream is here. You can watch the same output here also. There is a Kudu site, I told you already. You can always go to Kudu site, and Kudu site gives you a lot of information about your website and its performance. Lot of environmental variable values you can see. You can see log files also there. And how to visit Kudu files? Just go to advanced settings in your site. Go to advanced development tools, advanced tools, and in advanced tools go to go, and this is going to open a Kudu site. You will notice that when you go to Process Explorer, you'll have two sites. One is the Kudu site, which is actually performing the task, and the other is the primary website. This is the Kudu site actually, and this is your main website. Total CPU time it is taking, lot of information is available, and you can do profiling of this to see how the code is executing, performance, output parameters. You can do profiling. I mean, pretty advanced debugging in case you want to do. The developers use all these features. Process Explorer, I showed you environment variables are there, a lot of environment variables, system variables, app settings, connection strings, local environmental variables. What is there in path is already known to you. This is actually the server machine. We are getting complete information about the server machine, the hardware which is allocated to our website. This information is available. So Kudu site is very handy again to the developers. You can get the command window here, and through command window from here itself you can execute certain commands. If you want, you can switch to PowerShell. See, you can go to log files, and in log files go to detailed error message. Look at the HTML. Just say download, and you can see this is the HTML file. The error message. And as you are changing the directory, it's changing the directory here also. I go back. HTTP errors, raw logs. If you want to view the log files in raw format, plain raw. So like this Kudu site also I would like you to explore and use it on need basis. There are a lot of extensions people provide for Kudu site, and you can enable these extensions. Just go through this list, and that finishes our about debugging diagnostics. Monitoring, debugging, and diagnostics. Of course, monitoring I showed you before, but once again, just to refer, there is an option here for monitoring metrics, creating alerts. All this also you can do. Metrics gives you various graphs, data in, data out, CPU time, how much time CPU was used, number of assemblies which are loaded, generation, this is basically garbage collector, how many HTTP errors, how many 404 errors, right? At this time, so many 404 errors have come. So you should keep an eye on all these things, because we don't want people to visit pages which are not there. So somewhere some broken link is there, that's why it is coming. So this is metrics, very important. Alerts can be created. Subscription, resource group, resource. Add a new alert. And here, of course, this particular section we are going to discuss in detail later, because alerts are now global. They are not attached to any specific service. You can create alerts from anywhere, and they are all stored at a central location. What is the type of signal? CPU time, if exceeds so and so value, like that you can create conditions. Greater than. Please explore. Nothing for me to explain, no logic. Just start using all these options and you will start understanding what to do. Basically, actions to be taken. You can take a new action of alerting by email or sending an SMS. Those kind of actions also can be created here. You have to create an action group. After that, actions will be there. Mind you, alerts are going to be charged. They are not free. Based on the type of action to be taken, based on the type of alert it is, there is a small charge for it. So you simply don't enable alerts because that option is available. So that is also one more thing which you should know here. Monitoring through portal, metrics and alerts. Debugging, I showed you how you can do in Studio. And diagnostic, basically the developer API, the diagnostic methods which will produce output, and based on the level they can be enabled, because lot of diagnostic data at a time will not be useful. We will get confused. So on need basis only I would like to enable diagnostic data. And various logs which are generated are in different folders, and you may want to go to those folders and view those files. Live streaming, log streaming, and the Kudu site control manager, we call it as Kudu. That's all in this.